And so begins our next episode of The Right Spotlight, almost on time.
Almost on time. Good morning, Kellen. Super
Good morning,
happy to
Brian.
be here. How's your
Hello,
Saturday
everybody.
morning going?
Yeah. Oh, it's good. I mean, I got a late start this morning, but I'm just excited about our show. And I already told you my festivities this afternoon. So.
Oh, I know. I mean, I thought you should come in on costume today, right?
So I am kind of, because I have this, and then I have a fishing net.
All right. Yeah.
And then the pugs are little lobsters, and like I'm a lobster fisherman. So I do have a costume.
Well, my little pup, last week we had him in his sushi outfit because we had a party and because we didn't want him to get step on. So, his little orange outfit, so it was a little early Halloween day for him. So,
awesome.
But he always sneers at me when I put him in that. So
they don't like it. They're like, you became one of those.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Anyway, so everybody, thank you for joining us for this episode of The Right Spotlight. I'm Kellen Ann.
Brian Monahan.
And we are so excited that you are here. And I'm going to start this new thing early now. I'm going to say, if you're here, please let us know where you're watching from and make a comment and let us know.
Right.
If you're watching this on the replay, let us know. And then tell your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? Because we want to build this up and let the world know all this great information that we're getting from authors and helping new authors.
The easiest way to find us is at The Right Spotlight, spelled like WRITE.com. And you'll be able to get to our YouTube channel there very easily and sign up for updates, find out who we have coming up next week and in the future. So,
yes. Or replay some of our amazing interviews that we have so far.
Oh, I know. I mean, last week Steve was
Steve was hilarious. So I watched it again on Monday. So because I was like, I think I might have missed something, because when you laugh so hard, you could and he keeps talking, he doesn't stop. And
I know.
Like, I know I missed something. So, but it was amazing.
Yeah, he's probably got about 20 snippets I'm ready to cut up, use for promotion. So
I know it's going to be great. So I love each author gives us a different perspective, a different style. And our author today, I know I say this about everybody, but we have just such amazing guests. So today we have Betty White. Bettendorf. I knew I was going to mess up her name. I always mess something up. And she is an author, a speaker. She's just opened a new boutique, Studio 11.
Studio 11, yeah.
11. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk, I personally want to talk about the format of her book, because it's not like your regular novel or a technical guide. And I'm really excited about that. So let's bring her on and get the show started.
Woohoo! Welcome, Debbie.
Hey! Oh my gosh, you guys, Kellen Ann, I've got to tell you, hello, Brian. Hello, Kellen Ann. When you called me Betty, I was literally, I have tears because it happens all the time.
That's your name, Betten.
People call me Betty. Like, I think there's just too many B's. And so, like, I'll be introduced to someone, and then I'll say, "Yeah, hi, Debbie Bettendorf." And after every conversation, they'll go, "Well, it's nice to meet you, Betty." It got so bad that one of my friends bought me a shirt that says Betty Boop. And then I had personalized license tags that said Bet4. And one of my friends said, you are trying to make people think it's short for Bettendorf, but really it's short for Betty. That's how much it happens. So when you say welcome, funny. Betty, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect. Like, let's just have fun here. You can.
Well, at least I got the name of the show right today.
Yeah.
You did. Because
I was reading it in the corner. I'm like, The Right Spotlight.
You got it right. Love it.
So your book, I love it. Find Your Fabulous. I need to share a quick little story with you. My daughter, every day, preschool, kindergarten, even through college, when she would answer the phone in the morning, I'd always ask her, when I was dropping off for school, I'd say, "What's your job today, Mbug?" And she'd say, "To have fun, do my best, and be fabulous doing it." So how's that for groundwork, right?
Yes. That's her word. That's your word together.
Fabulous. Yeah, that's what, and she's be fabulous. She'd go, "Be fabulous doing it." Like she would be so dramatic when she said,
I've got to meet Emily. Huh? I think I'd really like your daughter.
You're going to meet her. We're going up.
I hope so. Yes. And November.
Yep. No, December.
Oh, December.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm making it a month earlier.
So this is the find your fabulous, love yourself on the inside, look great on the outside. Yep. I mean, I love the whole concept of it. So I'm just going to dive in. Okay, Brian. So when we see a book, we have words. Well, I picked up a page without words. Oh my God. There. See, that's our normal novel kind of.
Yeah, we can read that.
But when you open up Debbie's book, it looks like this. It is so fun. And now, is this your handwriting?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
There's a whole story behind that too. So, and then some of the pages are, every page is like, even the font is different. If
it's big and it's fun, it's playful. Yeah. It's fabulous. That's what I'm going to say.
Thank you.
So, do you want it? Okay. So so why did you write a book?
So first I'm going to explain why I did that the way I did that.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the books that really spoke to me was, what is it? The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse.
Yeah.
And I love that. I had a really good friend gift that to me, and I read it and I was like, I love that it's in his handwriting, and I love that it's just short. It's a story. But it's not a novel. It's kind of off the beat. And when I received that book a few years ago, I was like, that's a book like I would like to write, because it's kind of whimsical. It's a little different. Mm-hmm. It's not a huge investment of time to read it or really to write it. It takes a lot longer to write something than it does, obviously, to read it. But I decided to write this. I was inspired by it through my fashion image consulting company. So I was with women all the time. I had male clients too. And I would be in their closets helping them find what fits their bodies. And it was like, you'd have to be vulnerable. My clients would have to be vulnerable and say, oh gosh, I'm dressing in front of this person. She's telling me what looks good, what doesn't. It can be uncomfortable. It's like, but we would end up bonding through that. And in the process of me helping these women, I learned a lot about myself too, in the way that sometimes we look great in our clothes. We might not feel great in our clothes because of confidence issues, insecurities. And there were many of my clients who I thought, you look stunning in this outfit. Why do you need me to be here? Like, why are you paying me to do this? And what was apparently clear was that sometimes we just don't have the inner confidence that we need to own our outfits and own our own style. And I realized that was me a little bit too. It's like you check yourself at the carpet and say, well, I'm trying to give advice, but I do the same thing. So over the years of almost a decade of having that business, I'm a journaler. I've always loved to write, but I've never written a book before this. And so all of these stories that I accumulated too inspired me to write the book. And I wanted it to be like my personality, where on the next page, you really don't know what you're going to get. I mean, it's fun, living your life, live in the moment. And I had to be, now the other part about me is I'm a little type A. I've been that way my whole life. And I would always say, it has to be perfect. No, I got to get this perfect. Well, we all know the older you get too, that's not possible. Don't put those types of expectations on yourself. Do your best. So it was very interesting as I was writing things. Your handwriting changes day to day. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'd go, oh, that looks a little crooked on the page. No, Debbie, you're going to submit it like this. And when I had a publisher printer, really, I didn't need an editor on this type of book. But he said, now, what do you want me to do with these that you've scanned in? Do you need us to put them into font? And I'm like, no. They're like, well, do you need help with art? Do you need an artist? And I'm like, no, my little.
You're an amazing artist. Look at this illustration. Look at that.
So through the book, I'm just giving fashion advice every once in a while. And I'm also giving stories that inspired me through my youth, my family, but also through my clients. So you just don't know what you're going to get when you turn the page, but you cover to cover, you can read it in 45 minutes, hour, less than an hour. And I did that on purpose for busy women.
It's life advice too, though. I mean,
Yeah.
The art of self-confidence and loving yourself inside, the beautiful inside, the beautiful outside.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you're onto something that, obviously we want to hear about you today, but we're also like speaking out to other authors and how they want to write their own book. And I think in today's Facebook, LinkedIn feed, people are not able to digest novels like they used to. So to meet, your book is very much like a feed that you might see on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Yeah.
And so that's in tune with what people want right now. And so I think it's, it's a great way to write a book. So
Brian,
kudos.
I never really thought of it like that. Thank you. That's a good way
you're
of looking at it. Yeah.
And when I finished it, I was like, I need to get this for my daughter. So I know she's not watching, so I'm getting her one for Christmas.
I've had a lot of moms that have purchased this that have said that they were going to get it for their daughters. And one mom in particular said every time she sees her daughter, she's looking at that book, and I'm like, oh, I love that. That makes me feel good because there is a story in there about what I would say, what advice I would give my younger self. And and that is a typed one and a book, story, but I've often thought about that, about what I would tell my younger self. And I've learned a lot. And, would I have listened back then? Maybe not, but I'm trying to instill what I've learned in my children too now. But back to the book. If someone wants to write a book, you don't have to be some, Shakespeare.
Right.
There's a market for every genre. And there's always someone who's going to appreciate the book. But it's not like I wrote this to be some big, wide-known author. That wasn't my purpose.
Right.
I didn't market it as such. I did it for me. It was very cathartic. Saying I was going to do this and then doing it, that was huge. And it doesn't have to be a huge investment, money, financially. Because of the way that I had written my book, I didn't need really an editor. I didn't need an actual publisher. I just really needed this company I used. They were so amazing to me. And I did shop a lot of other people, and they give you enticing packages where they can do this for you and they can do that for you, but it's going to cost you. And I let Debbie know, what are you really doing this? Why are you doing this? It's not like I want to sell 1 million copies. It would be great if I did, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was to do it for myself. I said I was going to do it, and I did. And by doing that, it gave me confidence to do all the things I'm doing now.
How long did it take you to write your book?
Oh, gosh. I had already journaled so much. I had most of my material in my journal. I had on my old website, I had done blogs and a lot of the typed stories. I just took off of my blog and used them for the book. So it wasn't doubled up. So it was a couple of months. I was done with it.
Well, no, that's brilliant. I tell people that all the time. If you've been writing content and publishing things to the web, you probably already have written a book. You just need to package it, bring it together. So, kudos to you for using what you've already have in hand.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. It's fabulous.
It's fabulous. I had a question though. You talked about, hey, as you're coaching people on their, being fabulous, and you're like, but maybe I have my own kind of insecurities yourself, and that you acknowledge that. When you wrote your book, did you feel any kind of hey, I got to live up to this, or any kind of anxiety about what you're putting out?
That's good. That's good. There was in what I would tell my younger self, that story that I'd written about myself, that was something, even though I'd blogged it before, putting it out in this manner and knowing that all of my older friends and everyone were going to read it. There's some things about the way I manipulated my personality, kind of stuffed myself down to be not what I could have been. You guys can read it in there, but it was, that particular story kind of made me feel like, wow, am I really going to put this out there? And then I was like, yeah, Because if I'm telling people to be their authentic self, then I have to be my authentic self and tell that story coming from a place that really, if I really am real with you right now, there's some hurt and healing I needed to do about not always. It's almost like I felt like I needed to dim my light. Like, don't shine so bright, Debbie. You're kind of extra. And it's weird. It's kind of weird. And that's why, like I'm telling you, that I tell my children, and I say in the book, if your light is too bright for someone, then they're not your people. And that's okay for them. That's on them. And just keep being you. And also don't dumb yourself down.
Right.
Don't stifle yourself because you really are smart, but you don't want people to think, oh, she thinks she's this or that. Right. Well, I'm like, no, you are smart. You should be doing these things. And I think they've listened or they've learned through the book. Yes. But me also giving them stories like, I didn't shine like I could have. I didn't go do the things I should have because I wanted to be more liked by everybody and be that people pleaser than I cared about me and my success and my growth as a person. So this point in my life, as I've aged, I'm like, I'm telling my kids to go do this stuff. I need to go do this stuff. So I'm really living this part of my life right now, discovering all the things that I can do that perhaps I should have done a long time ago and didn't.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. I mean, I think the system of schools and jobs, we're asked to check our best parts at the door, and so
totally.
But I think, it's an unlearning almost. And, you had to go through it. And then by sharing it in your book, maybe that person might be able to realize, hey, maybe at 20, they might decide to show themselves instead of waiting till they're in their 30s or whatever that might be. So,
or 50s.
Yeah. Or 50s.
Oh, I didn't know there's anybody over 30 on the call.
Oh, you were too good.
I told you you're going to love him. I told you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Good job, Brian.
All right.
I like it. You have been well trained by someone. I don't know who it is. But
I mean, I have been married for 20 years. I mean,
Yes. She's decided to keep you around too. She's like, he's a keeper. Never mentions age. Love it.
Okay, so this is a question we ask everybody, and it's not necessarily regrets, because we try to help people that are new to being an author and getting their books published or completed. What was something that you wish you knew or had done, but you didn't figure it out until after you published your book?
Well, that's funny. I actually have my first copy of my book did not have the forward. So I redid it. I didn't think about having someone write a forward for me. Okay. I didn't think of having, I did kind of, I had talked to a professor, Dr. Robert Lawson. He was the first person I talked to about writing this book. And he and I met and had lunch, and he's written probably 20 some books. And he said, I can write a review for you. Let me read your book. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. Because it was just like, I'm writing a book. I didn't care who was on board or not,
Right.
So he did that. But had I not met with him, I probably wouldn't have had reviews. So he read it, and he also felt like you guys, like, this is different, Debbie. This is cool. This is like, I get your personality. People that read it will get your personality, and this has value. So he wrote a review for me. And then as I went forward with my publisher, who I love them, they're in Columbus, Ohio, and they're a real small mom pop shop kind of. They knew Mindy Dreyer, whose channel, now she's on Spectrum. She's a news anchor who has written a couple books. And they said, you remind us of her. And I'm like, really? In what way? And they're like, I don't know, your personalities. So they ended up introducing me to Mindy. We were fast friends. I mean, like, I feel like she's a sister. I mean, so I've known her for a couple of years now. And she was like, Debbie, I love this. Can I write your forward? And I'm like, oh my God, I just felt super blessed. But had I done it over again, I would have maybe had the forethought to think about, who do I want to give my transcript to? Who do I want to read it? Who do I want to review it? Ask their, can you do this? But it all fell into place for me. It was just kind of meant to be. But if I were giving advice to someone, I would certainly give them that advice.
Yeah. That's great advice.
Yeah.
I think when I did mine, I didn't have a forward till like a day or two before I pushed the print button.
Yeah.
I was like, who thinks of that, right?
Well,
yeah,
Brian probably does.
I do.
You do. This guy does.
I have a checklist for authors, by the way, and a forward is in there. So
oh, good. I should have read your checklist.
Yes, that's good.
But that's a great point. But I would say this is I would rather have a book with no forward than no book at all. So
good.
Yeah, and I think the key is you actually have to step into writing your book to even realize you need a foreword, which is most people don't even get to that part of it. So
right,
I love it.
Yeah, just put action behind. If you've ever considered writing a book, and I do it. Just do it. It doesn't have to be perfection. Just do it for yourself. It's very cathartic. You learn a lot about yourself in the process. And Kellyanne had also, she and I had talked yesterday, and she said, did it open doors for you? And the answer to that is 100% yes, including what I just mentioned. Because I went through this process, someone suggested to meet Mindy Dreyer, who, it's just, you meet people. And I met her, and now we're friends, and she wrote my foreword. And then after the book was published, I was asked to be on podcasts. And then I met Ken Walls. He had me on. And then I was on his Amazon channel too. And then I was out and, Joe Ingram, the sales genius, was on his podcast. And I've been on multiple because of the book. That is the only reason. And like I said, it's not Shakespeare. It's not a novel wordy that, took me 7 years to write, but it is good for what I wanted to do. I did it for myself, and I love that I have it. And my kids, it's like such a great keepsake. Like, this is part of me that my family will always have long after I'm not here.
Legacy.
Oh, look, legacy. Sensational Saturday to everyone.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Hello.
But yeah, it's a beautiful legacy. It really is.
Yeah, I agree. So I encourage anyone that's on the fence about whether they should or shouldn't write, definitely 100% do it and get a hold of Brian's checklist. If I write another one, I will do that. I have considered it. I'm in a place right now where I have lots of multiple things happening at once. And I do know when you write a book, you really should be in the space of giving that attention to it. That's another piece of advice, having the moments that you can take. And I would just do morning time with my coffee to write extra things and to put things in order. And then I would put it away. And I didn't make it a chore. I made it a thing I looked forward to with my morning coffee. That's kind of how I did it.
Yeah, I think coffee goes hand in hand with writing a book.
It did for me. I didn't plan it that way, but that's how I did it.
I wrote 90% of my book at a coffee shop.
Oh, that's cute.
Coffee is for authors only.
So creative, Kellyanne.
That's Brian's sticker.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If you're nice, I bet he sends you one.
All right.
We'll get you some. I gotta get you stacked up, Kellen, so you can send them out for me.
I know we can put them in our cards.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
What about mentors? Like someone that
so
gave you the spark.
The mentor, yeah. Okay. So like I mentioned, Dr. Robert Lawson, who is a amazing writer and human being. He even had me after I'd written my book. He got married. He was a widow, and he ended up reconnecting with his high school sweetheart. It was just a sweet story, but they got married, and he said, I want you to come to the reception, and I want you to bring 100 books. I'm buying them, and I want all of my guests to get your book. So I set up my backdrop and I signed books, and he bought 100 of them. So not only is he an amazing mentor, but he is an amazing person. And he helped me a lot with realizing my power too, when I was like, I don't know, what do you think? And him saying, it's good. It's good. It's it's what you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciated him doing that. And, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but my kids are kind of mentors to me. I learn as much from them at this point in my life, now that they're adults, than I believe that I taught them, or pretty close. So when I consider something and I may say it, they are so encouraging. And I see all the good that they're doing with the positive influence that my husband and I have raised them with. That I say, I need to take my own advice. They're doing great things and I'm going to do it too. So, and I really can say that with all the love and truth in my heart and soul, that I learn so much. And I do feel like in their own young way, they're mentors to me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you start to see, hear it back from them, it's always good.
I know. I'm like, oh.
Hey, how about you actually live up to what you've been preaching all these years?
You got it, Brian. That's exactly right.
Well, I have a 15-year-old coming around the bend here in the next couple of weeks, so I'm kind of hearing it these days.
Oh,
so
you will. It'll get worse. It'll get louder.
Have you actually said what you said you would never say that your parents said?
Oh,
do what I say, not what I do. I swore I would never say that.
Oh, I know. Coffee shop gives you superpowers. Oh, Conchita, I'm loving you.
I know.
Like, yeah.
All right.
Look, and I even have, you know what we are right now? We're squad. Except Brian's like, I'm not an old lady on your.
I got this little fancy box. This almost got thrown away when we moved, and I found it, and I'm like, what? That's my favorite mug. This little fancy fox.
But that's not your favorite mug.
Fancy fox.
Well, second favorite mug.
What's your favorite?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's oh my gosh, Wagmore, of course.
There's a few promos in here, Debbie, we didn't tell you about.
Oh, I love it.
Like sometimes a book will just slide across the screen.
Is that one yours or his?
This is Brian's book.
Okay. Well, I want to know. I know.
Well, let's all put our books up.
Customer Delight 365. Oh, every day we're hustling. Customer Delight 365. Oh, I like it, Brian. That's awesome.
Well, we have to have some street cred. We can't interview authors if we're not authors ourselves.
Well,
right?
There you go. I love the name. I love a play on words. So the name of the podcast is just, the right spotlight, like right with a W. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Very good. Love it.
I thought I was being really creative. Apparently I stole it from Brian.
My newsletter is The Right Time. So.
Oh, okay.
But I'm like spotlight because we're spotlighting our authors.
But it all works together.
It does. Good thing we're a team.
And great minds, right? You like what he's putting down. I love it. The Right Spotlight. It's a great name. I'm so honored to be here. I know you've had Steve Rizzo on. I know, and my gosh, speaking of him, he is hilarious, but brilliant. He's a brilliant writer.
He is.
I love all of his books. He's just really good, and they're meaty. They're a good read. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of catches you off guard being so funny, and then he's like, "But you're so darn insightful too."
Right. And that just goes to show too that, and he and I have talked about this a lot, that life doesn't have to be so serious. You can be funny and still be a brilliant mind. You can still merge the two, and that's why I think his writing is so good, because he's a great writer, but also it's easy for anyone to read.
He's a good storyteller.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But and I love his coined phrase, "Your humor being."
You're a humor being. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, who do we want to be around? The people who are funny, that make us laugh. That's what it's all about.
That's actually how I found out about you, Debbie. You were on his show with Eric Bam earlier in the year. And I'm like, oh, I've never met Debbie. So I was happy to hear that you're going to be on the show with us.
Well, thanks, Brian. It's good to be here. Kellyanne and I hit it off. So
I feel like we have this connection.
We immediately. Yeah. And to meet in person is I'm just going to hug you.
I'm bringing my book so you can sign it.
Good. Thank you. I will do that. I'll bring yours. I think
I signed yours.
You already signed mine because you sent it to me. Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yay!
Okay, I don't have my list of questions. Do you have anything, Brian?
Oh, now you put me on the spot. You have the
Well, it is
list.
not. I
You
have
have the list.
I have
You have
notes,
the
but not
list.
questions.
It is the spotlight, Brian.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite author for you?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite author besides Kellen and I?
Yeah.
Besides us.
You know
Yeah.
what? No, I can't say that I do. I'm all over the place. It's just like my book. You never know what you're going to get on each page. It's just like even genres of movies. It's what I'm in the mood for. I have over the last year and a half I was in a book club for like 7 or 8 years, and so every week we were reading, and you never knew what you were going to get. But over the last year and a half of doing my podcast, I've had a lot of authors on also, and a lot of self-help books I've been reading. But I can't say that I have like a actual favorite author. I just can't. I wouldn't be able to pick one. But I do. It was interesting because as I was reading all of the kind of like self-help books, because those are the authors I've had on, like Kellen Ann's book, and then oh gosh, my mind's blank now of her name, Cynthia Mannion. When I read their books, it was like kind of refreshing because it was different and it was fun to read like that. So it just depends on what I'm in the mood for, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Do you have a favorite author?
Yes, I do. And I'm not going to get his name right. Puello. He's Coelho from. He wrote the. Wow, I can't even think of the name.
I know it's hard.
The Alchemist. Yeah.
Oh, I've read The Alchemist. Now I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, that's an intense, good book, and I believe in those. I believe in The Alchemist.
Another topic on that is I listened to that as an audio book, and it's cool to read a book and then follow it up with an audio book. It was
I've never
totally
heard it last week.
Do you like when you have long car rides? That's when you like listen.
Yeah.
I've never listened to a book on audio yet.
Oh, it's great.
I should do that. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you an opportunity to multitask when you're in the car, when you wouldn't be able to read something, and then be able to capture more books. So
yeah, I especially like it when it's in the author's voice. I mean,
that's cool. Yeah, but yeah, The Alchemist is a great book, and like Man's Search for Meaning. I mean, I love those types of books, but then I also like the Wagmore book. I mean, like it's so fun just to see different flavors of the artists and the author's view on life. And even like I said, like Mackie, I think, is the one that wrote the boy, the fox, the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. I mean, even though like that, I can read that in 20 minutes, but it's a story that means something. I love that. It's so cool.
I tried to read with a cadence. Like, did you feel like it was a bump and a bump and a bump and a bump and a bump?
That's true. Yeah.
100%. I learned about that when I wrote the book. I go, I'm doing something, but I'm not sure what it's called.
Yeah. It like innately comes, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, wow. So
here's a question. Yay.
Conchetta, is there a recommended software for formatting your book during the writing process?
I paid someone to do mine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, the question would be, formatting and writing are probably two different parts of the puzzle. But there is a program out there called Scrivener that a lot of people use that helps you write and format. So Debbie, your book was so unique, really, a formating option.
Yeah, there would be no AI used or any formatting. It definitely is AI free. It is definitely from just me, but no, I didn't use obviously any programs or anything. It's just very different and unique. But of course, if you're going to write something that's real meaty and a story, a novel, then I'm sure those programs are super useful. Have you used a program, Brian, for your books?
Yeah, I've used Scrivener for a few. I actually didn't write my book, Customer Delight 365, using Scrivener, but I've used it to organize some different outlines. It's really easy to take your chapters and move them around like little. It's almost set up like they're little index cards.
Oh,
the view.
Fun.
So you take your chapter and you want to move it to chapter 1 to chapter 2. You can move it around. So it's got a visual aspect that's pretty nice to use. But in the end, my recommendation is just get Word, Google.
Yeah, that's
Google.
what I did when I
You
ended
should
up.
put that Scrivener, like a link in our comments later so people can.
Yeah, I'll drop some of that in there. There's some other free ones out there I can't think of off the top of my head, but there's a variety of products. But I always say most people start off in some kind of word processor, and then you can move it over later.
I used Evernote for my book, but all I did was just type.
Yeah.
Send it to the
So I
up.
actually wrote my book using a Google survey, crazy enough.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Then I just punched in one thing a day and did that over and over 400 times. So,
you know what? Everybody finds their own way to do things. Like, I mean, with my handwritten stuff, I obviously I would do my typewritten page, and then I would scan in my handiwork. And then I would, do typing and then scan in. And that was real. That threw the publisher off. He's like, what's all this with the handwriting in there? Do you need us to No, just like that. But it was very, like I said, when you just do a little bit every day, you don't have to feel like I got to write a book. That's overwhelming. When you start thinking, I'm going to sit down and write a book, just give yourself like, hey, you know what? Today I'm just going to write a page or two, or I'm going to, even if you can't get to a computer, just jot down thoughts. Oh, and I did that even as my kids grew up, because you're so busy, but you're like, they just said something super cute, and I don't have time to like scrapbook it right now.
Right.
In my like junk drawer, I had paper and little scratch notes of what they said. And one day when I had time, they were older, and I took all those sayings and laughed, reading them again. Wow. I would have forgotten, and put them all together in one place. So even if you're just doing scrap notes and you have them all together, it doesn't have to be fancy, then you can go back to that and get your material and put it into Google or whatever.
Now, we know what I did, and I did this for my daughter, but this would be a good idea for what you just said, Debbie. I created an email account for her when she was born, and I just typed her first little messages, like little thing, and I'd sent them to that email. So she's going to have this whole chronological of everything that's happened. But you could do that for this. So you're writing a book, set up create an email.
Great idea,
right? And then you don't have to retype it.
And you're so loving and nurturing and sweet. That is a great idea. I can't do. I mean, I can start now.
I'll send there's some gaps in there. There's some gaps when there was turmoil and blood, sweat, tears. But
yeah, right.
For the most part, I thought I was going to write it on a calendar. I thought, why would I do that? I can just send myself a note. And I thought, I'm going to send it to her. So I haven't given her the email yet. I figure I'm going to give it to her when she's pregnant, so she'll have something to read.
Oh, I love that. That is really cool. And also, like you said, it's a great idea if you're send yourself an email. You have it all on type, then you can just copy, paste it into whatever.
And now you can speak into it. You don't have to type the email. Like you could be like somewhere and go, oh wait, I did a note to self,
Perfect. Oh, there we go.
But I'm sure there's a much more like technologically advanced thing of like, that's probably AI of some sort.
Whatever works, people. Okay. We don't all have to be tech geniuses like Brian. We can email ourselves. It's totally fine.
I text myself every day 100 times.
Me too. And there's something though about me liking to write it down, even though I know I have a phone, I can speak into it, I do all the things. But I love to write things down.
Me too. I like to check it off.
Physically check mark.
There's some kind of psychological like that happens that releases something good when you check
something good. I don't know where that came from. That's how my brain works. But yeah, it is good. It feels good to physically check mark something off. I love it.
Very cool. Awkward silence.
I'm letting y'all do your thing. I can just dive in there, but I love this. This was so fun. And I love the ideas you guys have given me. I'm gonna start emailing myself for my next book now.
Oh, that's a good idea. So let me know how it works.
Yeah. I will do that.
And then we can have you back again as a guest because you'll have another book to talk about.
Yeah,
we're looking forward to that one.
Oh, do you want to do a little plug for your fashion show?
Awesome. Totally. So I do have a fashion show tomorrow with my new business called Studio 11 Style. And if you want to check out the website, it's Well, you can go to debbiesbizcard.com. It's all on there. But studio11style.com is my website. You can shop. And I just started that October 1st. It's an online boutique. This is all new to me. I am flying by the seat of my pants and I'm figuring it out. I'm having fun in the process, but now I've always been able to help people get ready and go through their clothes and put them and shop for them and put them in other people's clothes. And now I can also dress them in mine. So it all came for full circle. Easy for me to say.
Way to go, Betty.
Way to go, Betty. Betty Boo in the house. So yeah, Studio 11 style. And there's a whole story behind that I can share with you some other time of how I named it. But yeah, there you have it. I'm doing a lot right now. It's exciting and terrifying all wrapped up in one, but I'm learning and I intend on keep going and grow this business.
Nice. Well, congratulations.
Congrats.
Appreciate you.
You're an amazing lady. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
I think the same of you. And now, Brian, you're part of my friend group. I love it.
Thanks, Debbie. Betty.
It is. It rolls off, Betty.
It does. I think you should change your name.
Betty Bettendorf.
Yeah, right.
Betty Bettendorf.
Betty Bettendorf.
And then where can they find your book?
It is on Amazon. It also, if you go to the website, debbiesbizcard.com, you can find it there. And it is also my publisher sends it directly from him as well. So if you want to do that, I know a lot of people don't shop Amazon. If you don't, you can buy it directly from him. So it's all on there. If you go to debbiesbizcard.com.
Love it.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to go shopping after we finish up today.
Yeah, I need to go shopping too. I got to get yours.
I know. Well, I'm talking about Studio 11.
Oh, so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all women's clothes, but you have
I mean, your life. Well, you never know.
He's very comfortable in his masculinity.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. If he's using the cup with the fox with the hat, the fancy fox.
Oh, yeah.
He's my type of guy right now.
I love that.
And real men wear pink too.
Yeah. Fancy fox.
Fancy fox.
I know. Before we go, though, the funny thing about that cup and the fancy fox, I had done and it's so crazy because tomorrow the fashion show I'm doing is my models are breast cancer survivors. So it's October, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. My models are breast cancer survivors. But about 5 or 6 years ago, I did a Snooty Fox tour on a bus with like 100 women. It's in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know about the Snooty Fox.
Oh yeah, I am a regular at Snooty Fox.
Yes, so we went from place to place, and I helped a couple of women that won the prize find outfits in the Snooty Fox. So that's what it reminded me of. And knowing that you're in Cincinnati, I'm like, I wonder if that has anything to do with the Snooty Fox.
It doesn't, but yeah, for those who don't know, Snooty Fox is a consignment shop in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it's got a lot of just really
high-end stuff,
high-end clothing and furniture, and so and they do, they bus people to all the different Snooty Foxes.
And I was on one of those buses dressing people at the Snooty Fox. It was so fun. I had a blast.
That sounds like that would be fun.
It was so fun.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to get there before the bus arrives so that you get the good stuff.
Yeah, you should have seen when we start walking in, the regular customers were like, oh, goody.
They found out about us.
Yeah. It's like, oh, here they come. We got to get our purchases and get out of here. Yeah. Anyway, but thank you guys so much for having me on. I loved it so much.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of your Saturday. Being with us and helping our aspiring authors, giving them great information. Totally appreciate it.
Yeah, love it.
Thanks, Debbie. We're looking forward to everybody head out to debbiesbizcard.com and find all of her great stuff, and we will have her back another time. So
totally.
We'll catch you in the green room, Debbie, and but thank you so much.
Thank you both.
So that was amazing.
Another great friend, author friend of yours, Kellen. Love all these people that you've introduced me to this year. Wonderful group of people.
Well, these are my takeaways. I've decided I'm going to give takeaways every week.
Oh, there we go. We make this up on the spot. So
I did it last. I think I've done it the last 2 shows, but it was very I just snuck it in. So know the purpose of your book. Realize that you're not going to be a New York Times bestseller. Are you writing it to have a legacy? Are you writing it for like therapy to help yourself heal from something? I think that was the biggest thing I got from her. And the other thing was breaking traditional publishing norms. Everybody thinks you have to have this 600,000 word typed document, novel format, professional editing. And I love that she just broke all barriers with her book. And then my final thing is that she said, and I love this, is don't hold back your shine.
Mm-hmm.
That's to me, that was the most important takeaway.
No, those were wonderful. I guess my takeaways are, one, just take action, start your book. It doesn't matter that you don't know that you need a foreword. You don't actually,
right.
And I disagree. I'm going to disagree with you, Debbie. You don't need a foreword. A foreword's nice. But that you just move forward with your book. And I love that her book is so authentically her. There's no, and I think we all head out and try to write something that fits some other mold when the most interesting thing is for you to share your unique perspective, your unique view. And so, that's what I encourage people to do, is go out and share their true self through a book.
And speaking of books, if you are in the process of writing a book and you want to get it through that finish line, you need to contact Brian Monahan, because he's your man to help you set up KDP storefront, whatever that's called. I don't even know what it's called. To get your book published, talk to Brian.
And then once we publish it and you want to get in front of the right people, talk to Kellyanne with Cards at Wow. She has some really unique video boxes that you can send off to radio hosts, and they're going to be like, I got to get this lady on my show or my podcast.
I give you attention getters. That's my job.
So we got you covered from start to finish. And then, maybe show up here on the right spotlight someday too. Yeah. So, we're building a pipeline for our future guests. So
yes, we are. So thank you everybody for being here this Saturday and spending time with us. And like I said earlier, if you are watching this on the replay, let us know where you're from. And we love your comments. And if you ask us a question, we promise we'll answer it.
And who do we have next week, by the way?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We didn't go there real quick. Let's get
we have a very diverse group of. We're going to learn about 50 Ways to Love Your Lover by Barry Selby.
That will definitely be a new direction for us. Yes. So
He's amazing. He's passionate about love, romance, and healthy relationships. And we could all learn about how to have a healthy relationship. That's for sure.
All right. Well, we look forward to having Barry next week. And thanks to Debbie.
Yeah, thanks, Betty. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a great week.
You guys, the fact that you called me Betty was the absolute best mistake you could have ever made. That was amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because it is a inside joke with me and my friends, because people will be standing there like, well, anyway, nice to meet you, Betty. And we're like, oh my God, it's so funny that you just said that. I can't wait. My friends are going to die when they see this. Oh my God. What is this live on? YouTube?
Yes.
So I can share it from YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's how I'll share
I
it.
love you did that. Thank you.
Oh, I definitely will share it on all my social media platforms from YouTube link. I'll just go into Write the Spotlight. Right? Let me look.
The Right Spotlight.
Yeah, let me see.
Last week I called it The Right Look.
Oh, I love you.
Are you muted, Brian? Or are you talking to somebody else?
We
can't hear you.
I think.
Oh, there you are.
I hear him.
I guess I muted I think I.
The right. I gotta follow you guys.
Wait, are we still on?
I hope not.
It says live 51.